Okay, so what you're seeing on screen now is actual gameplay of the game. The message that came up said WS80 to move. You actually need to use the arrow keys. Now I meant to change that but didn't get around to it. Space is shoot and you press R to restart the game. So let's talk about what I've done in the game and kind of go on to some issues I've had or am having currently. So as you can see, I'm just walking around, and these games increase in difficulty per level. Now, being the person who made it and the person that had tested it over and over again, it came to be fairly simple. As you can see, if you run into an enemy, your score will go down by 1 and you have to restart the entire game. Not just that level you're on, the entire game, which makes it kind of annoying in some cases. So let's talk about what I wanted. When I came up with the idea, I wanted 10 levels, and I thought that would be fairly simple, although doing 2 levels a week meant that it was going to take quite a while. So I decided that a couple weeks ago, I decided I'll take it down to 5 and I'll stop at 5. Unfortunately for me, Game Maker Studio Free Edition has a limited amount of objects you can use. It's set to 15, and that's an issue for getting up to 5 levels. Now, I had created 5 different rooms, which is just the walls and the background, nothing else. That's just the room, and I designed 5 different rooms. But when I went to go make them, I was limited to 15 objects. And when I say object, I mean I have 2 enemy objects, which are enemies going or walking vertically and enemies walking horizontally. The walls you can see are objects. The blood splatters, I have 2 objects for those. And the person is also an object. The player, the person you're playing as, is an object. And then the arrows are objects. And arrows, the arrows on these have to be different per room, because room transitions are in different locations. So each arrow has to be different. So unfortunately, I couldn't make enough arrows to move on. But I have controller objects for health, score, sounds, and player spawning. I have an object for the actual the object you shoot. That's an object. So I ran out of objects in order to transition to different rooms. I'd like to show gameplay of it if I could get it to work with enemies, but like I said, I was out of objects. So overall, in the whole scheme of things, my goal was to learn how to use Game Maker Studio, and I feel as though I have accomplished that. I know very well how to use Game Maker Studio, including editing sprites, adding sprites and editing sprites, editing sounds within Game Maker, adding and editing backgrounds in Game Maker again, setting paths for enemies, different types of scripting in it. Game Maker uses its own coding language. It's kind of a mix between Visual Basic and Java. Setting up different fonts even for the text. You saw the score text in the top left. I had to set a font for that. And like I mentioned earlier, objects, creating those, setting objects to do certain things like collision objects, all that fun stuff. And then adding rooms and designing room layouts. So overall, I've accomplished my goal, but in these past 2 weeks here, it seems as though I hadn't. I only have 3 levels. In these past 2 weeks, I said I'd do 5, but unfortunately, the free edition will not allow me, doesn't give me the ability to do 5. But I see that's alright. I just wanted, like I said, I wanted Game Maker to be a way just for me to get familiar with different game engines, Game Maker being one of them. And I'm fairly familiar with it right now. I don't plan on doing any larger games in the future. I mean, I may, but at the moment, I just don't see it. But to upgrade to the standard version is $100, and quite frankly, I wasn't going to pay $100 for that. So there you go. Like I said, overall, I feel as though I've accomplished my goal. But these past 2 weeks, I just spent, when I found out I couldn't do that, I spent refining, redesigning all the different rooms 1 through 3. Went through, redesigned those, kind of redesigned how enemies reacted, how fast they moved, edited their sprites quite a bit. So just to kind of make it a little nicer, I also changed the music in the last level to something a little more, get your adrenaline pumping, just fun little stuff like that. So that's what I did with these past 2 weeks. So that wraps up this vlog. Thanks for watching, and I guess I'll see you in the next vlog.
Nerd rap infest your internet. You left a trap, but it's empty. MC front a lot. Took a gate, but the bait wasn't tempting. Ending up uncaged and at large to talk smack at you through the networking appliance that's in charge of every drip of your attention. Yo, when mine goes out, I've got to log in just to mention my disappointment at the interruption of convenience. I mean, just a lot left, but none up in between this couple of